Welcome back to the channel, Hobby-Wan Kenobi here. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you. I am continuing work on the Trumpeter T-80BV. I will be tackling the turret, which is considered one of the busiest on any armor vehicle. Trumpeter doesn't make this work any easier, and I am resigned to just having to take my time. To make things worse, I found some details that I think I can make better through scratch building. One such area is the cover for the engine deck radiator intakes that are used for weighting. Here I found a rather large gap on either side, as well as a lip around the seam that wasn't molded cleanly. During one of my live streams, I decided to cut the prongs that tried to replicate the rod for hinges. These didn't look right and did not align well, so I cut them off and covered the seam with plastic card. The thin lip was molded poorly, so I scraped the area away and I replaced the lip with thin strips of plastic. I like to save thin pieces I cut with the Northwest short line chopper. I found two pieces that were of similar thickness and glued them with CA glue and trimmed them to size. Each of the two vents are made of two halves. Trumpeter decided to mold connecting pins to help the alignment of these halves, but the connectors would be visible, so I decided to scrape them away altogether. I removed the plastic with a scalpel and a Flexifile sprue clipper. The area was reshaped with files and sandpaper and now looks much more realistic. The plastic pieces I clipped away were replaced with brass rod. This tube used for weighting was also molded in two halves, so I needed to remove the seam. Since I used Tamiya extra thin to mate the surfaces, plastic was squeezed out of the seam, effectively filling it. Now all I needed to do was scrape away the excess dried plastic. The tracks received coats of Tamiya NATO Black. During my latest livestream, I applied various artist oil colors to them. I took a large, soft brush and blended the colors to create subtle weathering. More weathering will be added to the tracks once the groundwork is begun on the base. A wash has been applied to the bottom of the vehicle, and now I begin to remove the dried excess artist oils from the raised areas. This is done with Q-tips and another large, soft brush. Finally, I decided to scratch build the entire turret basket. The piece Trumpeter had molded appeared to be depicting square-shaped rod, while the actual basket is welded with circular-shaped rod. I found that reshaping the frame would be more tedious than simply starting from scratch. I used plastic rod and bent the pieces with my fingers or tweezers. This was done mostly by eye and comparing the shapes to the molded Trumpeter piece. Pictures of the actual basket were nearby on my computer screen as a handy reference. After 2 attempts, I finally got the first bit of frame figured out. Painter's tape was used to secure the frame in place. Now it's going to be much easier to shape and add the next piece of plastic rod. Tamiya extra thin cement was used to secure the pieces in place. With projects like these, it is important to take as much time as you need to size the pieces correctly. And if something isn't right, just try again. I also recommend ensuring any knives or clippers you are going to be using are nice and sharp. I will not be using Tamiya extra thin cement to attach every piece. The bond is stronger if CA glue is used. The attachment points for the kit molded basket will need to be filled. These holes were square-shaped, and square-shaped plastic rod was used to fill most of the hole, while CA was used to secure the plastic in place, as well as being used to fill in the gaps. To attach the basket to the turret, metal beams were welded, then the turret was secured by bolts. I decided for this model to trim the basket at these points, then flatten the piece where the bolt would connect to the welded beams. Flattening the ends was achieved by forcefully squeezing the plastic in pliers used for bending wire. And here is the model so far. Once the wash is fully dried, the painted lower hull will receive a flat coat. Then I will attach the tracks and the side skirts. Much more work is needed to complete the turret, then the upper portion of the model will be ready for a base coat. Well, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.